Hey guys, welcome back to yet another podcast. We are back with more news I'm DK.
Brandon Thomas.
Benjamin Weir.
We are back and we are talking
do it every time.
about entertainment culture as per usual. So in the news...
Welcome to the news.
DC's creating their own streaming service. This has kind of been out for a while, but we'd like to talk about it because it's kind of new. And right now, the streaming service includes TV shows, films, and comics. There's not a whole lot of information about how that's going to turn out and exactly what way. So we will see if that's going to be a lot of comics, like their old comics, or release a lot of old comics, or is it going to be just a few and they want you to buy more? It's kind of up in the air right now.
Kind of cool though, I think.
It would be cool because I would actually like to do that. Like, if I could read some of the old ones and kind of see like how Batman came about, I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah,
The originals.
subscription service.
The ones before he was even like really like
Yeah,
Batman.
like the original, like from the Detective Comics.
That'd be
comics. Like I feel like the best way to sell that would actually be have all the old ones from that you can't even acquire because they're so rare. Have them in like PDF format. I think that would be one way to really sell it on a comics sense. TV shows, they're producing a couple of TV series that Brandon will talk about in a bit. And films, they already have the DC Universe, which we'll get into that, that's for sure. But right now, DC, the Universe is streaming. It costs $75 annually. So that's about, it's like $8-9 a month. So, alrighty. Tell me what,
So when it comes to the DC streaming service, I think like most likely you're gonna have a lot of like you're not gonna have a ton of content coming out. Like you think about DC movies that are coming out, like we don't have nearly as many DC movies as we have of Marvel movies, and Marvel has also outproduced DC when it comes to television. Not that necessarily all those are like, well, you can decide which ones you like better or worse, but when it comes to Marvel, you've got like, you know, is it every 2 years, I guess? Like a season of Daredevil, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., is that still going? I believe so.
Yeah,
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. still going. I don't know, like, I guess they're getting the ratings to keep renewing it, so it must be doing okay.
Yeah.
I haven't seen like the last 2 seasons, I don't think.
Yeah.
You've got the Iron Fist, you've got Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, so you've got their whole Defenders arc. So like they definitely have a lot out there, and
Punisher also.
Punisher, yeah, exactly. So there's a lot out there. I think when it comes to DC, like the main tenants would be Arrow, Flash, Supergirl, Legends of Tomorrow, which is that even renewed? I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Honestly.
Right. But so those are all like, that's generally what you have in terms of like TV shows, films, comics. So TV shows, Flash going over to DC. Also, are they going to pull these things from Netflix? I doubt it. Based on like this last season of The Flash, is like I think it was exactly 1 week after the last episode aired, they put it all on Netflix.
They did it
right?
really quick.
They did it really fast. So that doesn't signal like some kind of like we're about to like pull our relationship. It seems more like a hey, like we're still intent on this, almost like a signaling of we're not going to pull our things.
In a way, though, Disney is supposed to have their own streaming, and they're still like they just released Pirates of the Caribbean on there.
Right. So Disney's still getting
so I do
Netflix.
have some information about what Brandon just talked about, but we're going to do that in our topics for discussion because that is going to be really interesting how the Disney streaming service is going to interact with Netflix.
Yeah. So, but along with having this new streaming service, there is going to be the TV show Titans, which is coming up, and they had a trailer for it, I believe, at Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con, and along with that, Doom Patrol. These two things have already been set and are being, I'm pretty sure Titans has been finished being produced probably.
I think
Doom
so.
Patrol, I have not heard way too much about it, so not sure about that. But Titans Season 2 has already been ordered before it is even premiered, so they're putting a lot of effort in hoping
It's good.
that it is going to be very good. Like from the trailer, I didn't think it looked amazing, but they're like hoping.
The trailer, like there was a 2-second clip of the trailer where like the gal like jumps out of this thing and like her face just slaps a dude and then just blood splatters everywhere.
Yeah, it's
a very bad effect, but that's okay.
Yeah. But in Doom Patrol, Matt Boomer from White Collar has already been cast as Negative Man, and Brendan Fraser, who's in Mummy and Journey to the Center of the Earth, he's been cast as Robot Man. So they've gotten some. I mean, Brendan Fraser's not as big of an actor right now, but it's still pretty big name.
I mean, he's got a history.
Casting for it, and I know, like, I think Titans got Brenton Thwaites. Is he pretty sure he's Robin, and he was just in Pirates of the Caribbean, the 5th one, just recently, and he was also in The Giver. So he's been in a couple of bigger things. He's like
The Giver.
definitely got a name out there. So I think that they're going all in for these new DC things. But yeah.
In other news, Little Women. So this is going to be more for like people who are really big into musicals. It's an old book that was really written by Louisa May Alcott. Yeah, Louisa May Alcott. They're actually remaking a musical out of it. The last one was made in like 1994. That's like a true to the thing because there was also a recent modern one that was just lame. But it's starring like Meryl Streep, Emma Watson, Laura Dern, and several other people.
Bob Odenkirk.
Yeah.
I can't believe he's gonna be in it.
Yeah, it's actually looking really interesting for those who are like really into musicals.
Who is this appealing to? Is my question. Because like, how much of America has been forced to read this book over like the summer? And like, how does that affect whether or not I like it?
Yeah. There's a lot of like gals who like love.
Yeah,
really?
Women.
That's true. And
yeah,
there's a lot of productions that have been put on. Like, I know you were even in a production of it a couple years ago. So it's definitely something that is still around. I think it all kind of depends on how they market it, too.
Yeah, it's definitely like Pride and Prejudice level. Like, if it's like
that always does.
It's
well.
runner-up to Pride and Prejudice is the best way to put it.
It's like if a Jane Austen thing comes out, you're gonna watch it even if you've never read it. You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
That TV show was really good.
Yeah.
I like that.
In addition to that, there's actually a Rocketeer. There's 2 Rocketeer remakes coming out. This is some of it was old news. It was initially announced in 2016, which is a Rocketeer remake that was like going to be set during the Cold War. That film is still in production, to my knowledge. That was announced, but I just wanted to like get that back out there. But in early 2018, Disney announced that they're making a TV series based off the comics, which is also really interesting. Is that why would they order like what are they like? What is it going to stream on? It's still being made. It's like in the middle of production. It's like, oh, where could we put a whole bunch of this content? Disney streaming service.
What did you say we're doing today, Johnny? We're having a topic of discussion today, so buckle up.
So, right now we all know that Disney's making streaming services coming out in 2019. They're going to have a lot of exclusive content, such as The Mandalorian, which we talked about last episode. Plug. Clone Wars Season 8. Wait, Season 7 or Season 8?
8.
Is it?
Wait.
It's 7.
Oh, no.
No, wait. No, it's 7, because the unfinished, because Season 5 had ended.
Oh,
Season
you're
6
right.
was the unfinished episodes on Netflix, and Season 7 is the new one.
That's true.
And so they're also making more Marvel series for that, as well as they're like Rocketeer could even be on it. So a lot of this stuff right now is that Disney's like has all this intellectual assets, like the Disney Princess movies, there are a ton of them. All their like old properties, stuff like that. But what's also really interesting is they bought Fox earlier in the summer.
Yeah.
And so now they own all of Fox's assets. So not only that, but imagine right now they're in talks with Netflix of basically reducing their distribution with them. Because they already made a distribution deal in regards to their Disney films to where they would, up for the next, I believe, 2-3 years, they will release on Netflix. That's why you saw Pirates of the Caribbean. But once that's out, everything's gone. Everything Disney is going to be gone. It's going to be on the streaming service.
All going to pull?
100%. Because it's direct competition. So why would they keep selling to distribution when they could make higher profit by bringing all of Netflix watchers to Disney? So that's why when we talked about last episode, Netflix is acquiring all these different properties. They're doing it because they know Disney's going to be their number one competitor.
Yeah.
Interesting though, like, because Hulu, does that also fall under Disney technically?
It does. So right now, Disney owns a 60% stake in Hulu. When they bought Fox, because they both own 30%. And the thing is, it's basically as if they control 90% because 30% of that ownership is with Comcast. Okay. And they are a silent partner on legal terms, meaning they cannot input whatsoever.
Well,
so
really?
They have basically 90% control with the exception of the 10%. So so that's what's really going to be interesting is, are they going to try to merge Hulu in their Disney service? Because it would be really unadvantageous to have 2 streaming services essentially competing with each other.
Yeah.
I read in a recent investor statement on Disney that they are going to be making more content for both. So Disney has assets for that. I feel like they shouldn't compete, and they should try to do something that unifies them, or at the very least, there's a better bang for your buck type thing, where Disney is defined as these properties, Hulu's defined as these properties, for a small price of $15 a month versus like $20 for each separate.
Yeah.
You can get both of them. So I feel like that would be a very good
And Spotify
and that right
at the same
there
time.
and Spotify at the same time. So
Showtime also.
that right
Oh,
there
yeah, isn't that
is
Yeah, it
hardcore, and it's going to really be. That's why our debate topic is how is Disney new streaming service plus their ownership of Hulu affect streaming services such as Netflix and DC. So I gave my kind of spiel on it. What do you guys think?
Well, I was thinking about when you were talking about how the way that they divide Hulu and Disney and like whatever Disney's streaming service could be, like, is it going to be called like Disney's streaming service? Because if they have all the Fox Entertainment stuff, then what they could do is have it be not just Disney and have it be this overarching, whatever name you want to call it, like Dasani or whatever brand you want to give to it. You basically you have that as it, and then you have like a Disney side of it, a Fox side of it. You have whatever other stuff, like they have Marvel side of it, like just all these different aspects that they could have, or like even splitting Disney into like TV shows and Disney XD. But Kick Buttowski, I'm gonna try and mention it. I'm gonna mention it in every video if I can.
Can we like play that? Like, can we play like the soundtrack of that? Kick Buttowski.
So, like, I could definitely see them taking it and then like putting like this hierarchy of like these different places that you can go to watch it. But since they own Hulu, that kind of throws it off. Like, maybe they're gonna make Hulu just strictly TV shows, and then they'll just pull all the movies. I don't know like what their plan is, honestly. That the whole thing with Hulu is kind of been confusing. But as far as what it means for Netflix, I honestly feel like Netflix is doing very good on their own, but there are a lot of Disney movies that are letting it be, like, it fills its portfolio of movies
Disney
that it
Channel
has.
TV shows. You know?
Exactly.
And so they have all these different things, and so once Disney's gone, people are going to be, like, upset about it. And so what is Netflix going to do? I think that's part of the reason what you were saying, like acquiring other stuff like C.S. Lewis's Chronicles of Narnia, like acquiring these different things so that way they can make new content. And then that was one of the big things that I read. Like, Netflix's whole point of existing was we're going to make a streaming service, and then we'll use the money to make our own content that we can pour into it. And then that will make people want to buy it even more.
Yeah.
So things like Stranger Things, or I'm forgetting how this year. Oh, well, I mean, they all
The Crown.
have, like,
The Crown is Netflix.
Yeah.
The Crown
So,
also must be mentioned every episode.
but like these things that Netflix are making, or even the simple like rom-com movies they're making now, like what was it called? It's All the Boys I Loved Before that just came out, and like Sarah Burgess, I forget what the exact name of it, but all these different things that Netflix is making to try to appeal to all these audiences is trying to kind of pull that before Disney pulls out. So that's what I think, is that Netflix will probably take a blow from it, but by building up their portfolio now without Disney, it'll do better in the long run. As far as DC, I think they're going to have problems.
Yeah, DC's definitely going to
I mean,
have some problems.
So, I mean, I feel like there's like, what are the major players right now, and then who's looking to be a major player? You've got Hulu right now, Netflix, the Amazon Instant Video, and then prospectively DC and Netflix would be the next two that we would see, try to break it up, right? Or DC and Disney. I don't know if that's what I said. Yeah. Okay. So Netflix, honestly, I think Netflix is always gonna have a solid spot. I don't know if I don't know that Netflix will lose subscribers over Disney, or if you're just more likely to see like Disney also gain more. I'm not certain that people are going to pull away from Netflix because, like you're saying, Netflix already has these shows. The only option for that would be, and no one has the capital to buy Netflix, I don't think. Who's got the capital to do that right now? So when it comes to Hulu, why create Disney service if you could just put it all into Hulu?
Exactly.
I think the honest truth for that is that Hulu, out of the three major players right now, Hulu kind of has like more the reputation of having like grittier stuff on it, right? Even when it comes to their television shows. Yeah. So if Disney's intent is to kind of go towards like, how much of a family-friendly company does Disney want to be, right? Exactly. Because Disney, honestly, like most of their stuff is pretty tame. Even like the Avengers movies, which are like action-packed, are not like, they're not that gritty or anything. That's one of the things that I don't love. Honestly, I don't care that much if, like we talked about Daredevil and that, I don't care if that's on the Disney thing or not. Like, those were produced as Netflix originals.
Exactly.
So I think they have to stay. Those are going to stay. So I'm curious about what Disney's not going to be able to pull away. Like, how many of their intellectual properties have they already invested into Netflix?
Yeah.
Right? And then if it comes down to even, like, if they, like, somehow regain the rights to those shows, do they even want them back, or would they just sell them back to Netflix as long as Netflix is making the money? Because who wants to go like watch season 1 through 3 of Daredevil on Netflix and then go watch it and watch 4 through 5?
Yeah.
So there's so many things that I think Netflix already has a stake in. The DC service, like we're talking about comics, movies, television shows, right? Those are the 3 things DC has produced really.
Yeah.
Comics, no one's really able to take that away from them, but. What percentage of the population really, really wants to read the comics? Honestly, Wikipedia. Like, I just read Wikipedia if I have a question. Like, the purpose of it, like, in this age of, like, the movies, I know, like, hey, no offense to any of the people that are, like, all about the comics.
Yeah.
I just have not found, like, a purpose for it for me.
Yeah.
Like, if I want to know about, like, when you know, in Avengers 1, when you're like, oh, who's this guy? Who's this purple dude? You know, or whatever color he was at the time.
Yeah, he was like blue.
He's
changed so much, you know. But so at that time, I'm like, who is this dude? I looked it up online, found out it was Thanos. Go to Wikipedia, like, read
Thanos?
read all of Thanos' history, and you're like, okay, I've got it. It's not necessarily I have to go to a comic store and go like
That's true.
have to buy comics. The internet has made that completely accessible, and so the purpose of the comics is almost like, if we're talking about YouTube, there's other YouTubers who, when comics come out, they immediately dissect it and explain it to you.
Yeah.
Like, in 13 minutes, you can have a whole series broken down for you.
Yeah.
And so, like, who are you appealing to by making these possible? They're already all in ebook format anyway.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Disney actually has, I don't know if it's Disney or Marvel, technically, but I'm pretty sure there is a thing that you can subscribe to, and every single month you get a comic book, you get a t-shirt, you get different, like, paraphernalia and stuff like that, and then you get, like, I think maybe a movie or something along those lines, like, you get the access to it, and I don't know if they're still doing it, but for a while they've been doing that, and, like, YouTubers have that too, of unboxings of, like, that kind of stuff. So if DC wants to do comic books, they could have, like, more of a subscription-based thing rather than being a streaming thing.
Yeah.
Because,
Right.
like, that could be, like, a Kindle, like, ebook thing that you're reading.
Yeah.
I don't think people want
everyone
that. They
wants
want
their
the
own
feel.
app.
They want
Yeah.
the feel of the comic book if they're going to get it. So I think it's just kind of, like, it's interesting the way that DC is going. I don't know if I agree with a lot of their business.
I don't know that it
practices
makes
for a while.
sense. I don't know that it's even desirable to me. Like,
Yeah.
what's going to be better for me? Paying $75 a month, or a year, not a month, to watch, like, let's assume they had every DC movie. Like, let's assume they had all of them, which they're not. They're not going to have them all available at once.
Yeah.
Let's assume they did that. $75 a year. Well, honestly, I don't want to watch every DC movie within a year. You know, they're not that good. Like, I will probably never, ever watch Suicide Squad. I have no desire
I
to
have
see
seen
it.
it.
Really?
I saw it.
Yeah. Anyway, so, like, for me, like, what's cheaper for me, $75 a year, or, like, if I want to watch, let's say I really want to watch Man of Steel, I like that one, okay? Like, let's say I want to watch that,
go
what's
buy
cheaper?
it.
For me to, like, subscribe to this thing for, like, a month, and, like, or is, like, what's the price of that compared to just, like, buying it single watch on Amazon Instant Video?
You can rent it. You can even rent it for like $2.99.
Right.
Yeah.
So
So
if it's at Redbox or whatever, then you've
Buy
got
it
Yeah,
outright.
it's
Go to
super
the
fun, so.
dollar section at Walmart.
Man of Steel. No, not already.
Honestly.
Is it already there?
No, maybe it'll be in the $5 bin. I don't know.
Go buy the 4 original Superman.
Speaking of DC, we're gonna move to our next topic, which is in the same vein. It's basically, will the DC universe survive? And if you were in Warner Brothers' position, what would you do? And this is kind of spurring out of the news that Henry Cavill is basically his whole schedule is booked for a couple years. And a lot of that's doing with like the new Netflix series, the new Netflix Witcher series, which he's going to be part of, and some other things he's already been with. So it's also signaling Ben Affleck that he's like actually might want to go. So do you guys think the DC universe will survive? Personally, I think they should just wait a couple years and just try to redo it.
Reboot?
But here's the thing: it's like.
Let me see Martha die
It's
again. You know what I really haven't seen in a long time? You know,
How do you know her name?
You know, I've not seen in a long time is Batman's origin story. When's the last time? I mean, how many? I mean,
Well,
really,
what
like
Spider-Man? Come on.
I mean, but They didn't even really
pearls
do the
falling
origin
on
story.
the
They didn't really do the
ground.
origin story for in Spider-Man: Homecoming. It's like
yeah.
how does he play into this
But
larger universe?
I like that though. The fact that
1960s
they
I like
just kind of
that.
like throw it away. They're like, yeah, I got bit by a spider, and that's like the only line.
I know,
you
I-
get. That's pretty cool.
It's great. I like it.
1960s Adam West Batman. He didn't have an origin story.
Okay.
Anyways,
Okay.
had
He
no
just
idea.
was. He
There's
just
no there.
was the spider.
all right. So, what would you do if you were in Warner Brothers' position?
It's difficult to think what they can do with Marvel being their competitor. Like Marvel literally
Yeah.
is dominating in every single sense. The thing, so I kind of disagree with something you said earlier, or it might have been Ben, but basically that Marvel is kind of dominating shows against DC shows. I would disagree
Yeah.
with that. I think
No, I said they're overproducing.
Okay, yeah, okay. Which is true. So, I think that there is a better DC universe on TV right now.
Yeah,
As
no,
far,
yeah,
even though I
absolutely.
don't like Legends of Tomorrow really at all, I did watch first season Supergirl. I didn't really like the second season that much, but just like The Flash and Arrow, I think have been very consistently
Yeah.
and well received, honestly,
Yeah.
by
They
a
have.
lot of people.
Yeah.
And so that has been a strong point of DC. So I think continuing to do that is really good for them. And then looking at what is the TV show doing and be like, oh, we could make movies that are somewhat similar but still original.
Yeah.
Rather than doing what they're doing with all the CGI and let's go,
no.
like, I don't even know. Like with Justice League, I was like, this looks so fake. Like it literally did not seem real at all.
Doesn't matter
And
how
so-
good the graphics are if they just like do not fit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like CGIing Henry Cavill's mustache off. That was a no go. That was.
I don't even.
that was
I don't even
bad.
bring that up anymore. You know.
it was rough.
But hey, it looked good in Mission Impossible.
But it's kind of like looking at all the stuff that they're doing. Like Man of Steel, I agree. I don't think it's that bad. Like I think it's a decent movie for what it is compared to the other stuff that they've made recently. Wonder Woman, I think Wonder Woman was very good, and then kind of towards the end, I don't like the graphics and stuff that they kind of get into. But in a way, like we talked about last podcast, it's just kind of like they're trying to do too much, but why not do it like realistic? Like Iron Man, its very beginning was very just down to earth, like not down to earth,
It's kind
but
of
like
raw.
it's like basic in a way, but it's like what they needed. It's not what
Yeah.
they wanted, but it's what they needed.
Yeah.
So kind of like DC, take your time, do these things. Like
Yeah.
with Wonder Woman, she doesn't have to be saving the world. Like she does have power, but find a way to like maybe cripple the power, and then she has to fight through that, and then she wins over it.
Yeah.
Or with Superman, it's kind of hard to do anything with Superman because they've kind of like I don't know. It's weird.
I don't know how powerful he is at this moment because
Yeah.
it seems like he's ultra powerful in Justice League. And
Yeah.
then, but whereas in
Man of Steel.
well, I was gonna say in Batman versus
Batman versus
Superman,
Superman, yeah, he
like
was-
even against Doom, like he dies.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, and so like
Spoiler.
yeah,
But
man,
not spoiler
2016
anymore, I
spoiler.
guess.
Yeah, but like, I mean, he dies against Doomsday, who like. I don't know what our level of like strength is here. You know, how strong is Wonder Woman? Because she's a god,
I know.
right?
It's
and
literally like,
and
let's
her
put
versus
everything in
her
there.
versus like Ares, who's a kind of weak villain, kind of.
Yeah.
But like her versus Ares, she's like ultra powerful, and then against Doomsday, like it takes like it's basically turns into Superman versus Doomsday, and they don't matter that much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and then even in Justice League, like you see her power as powerful, and then like. I just don't understand like what the range is here. You
I
know?
feel like the best thing that they could do is make a Batman movie that is like good, like and just gritty and not the Dark Knight. It's different than the Dark Knight because you can't reproduce that.
Yeah.
But take Ben Affleck and make this story like that they introduce about Robin's like suit being covered in spray paint.
Yeah.
Talk about
yeah,
that
why have
story.
we not? Why
Yeah,
have we
well,
not
why
heard
are we
what
not
that is?
addressing
Why is that
those
not
yeah.
even like
things?
out in like a novel or something?
Because that's
Yeah,
like
it's
some really
marketable.
good like background. Like if you
Yeah.
know anything about the comics, it's talk about like the death of Robin basically being his fault, and that's kind of like why he goes all like
Yeah.
killer and stuff. We haven't
Could the
seen that
Titan
yet.
show play into that? Which
I don't
which
see
Robin
connections a lot
I
of
don't-
the time too.
yeah.
Like they aren't like Marvel. It seems like they have. We're making this Avengers movie, and this is what needs to happen, little bit in each character, and so they kind of like flow together.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and all the Defenders
seem like
like
that.
individual
Yeah.
shows all actually
all
are
blend
in the same
together,
universe,
exactly.
whereas the Flash is not. Like, okay, at least they made the Flash and Supergirl and Arrow and Legends like all within the same kind of like
Yeah.
whatever, where they can't interact. Like
Exactly.
that makes sense. But Marvel has made this completely like across everything, whereas
Exactly.
like DC has like two pocket universes: DC Extended Universe and then DC like Television Universe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So was that the right choice? Like, are they saying like, okay, we don't want to invest And like we want to use the title character, the Flash, and we want to give him his show, but we don't want this like show to affect our movies because like there isn't like in Marvel there isn't some major superhero like we don't have an Iron Man television show.
Yeah,
You know,
they're very small characters that they decided to put as a TV series,
Right.
More so, and so that like we've been talking about, like the grittiness and the realism is more there because they're these smaller characters that don't have like grandiose powers like Superman. So
yeah, honestly, Arrow. I think Arrow would fit in well with that. I don't think the Flash would or Supergirl because at the point where
Yeah.
Supergirl is
Supergirl's
as
OP.
powerful as she is, it's just kind of like you can't. It's like breaking that. Like Superman breaks the ceiling of how powerful someone can be in Justice League. Before you're like, I don't know how strong he is really, you know, because
Yeah.
you see him fight another Kryptonian and then you see him fight Doomsday and you're like, I don't know how strong they are. And we hadn't seen Wonder Woman in her movie at the time of Batman vs Superman. So,
Yeah, I think like again, if I were Warner Brothers, I think like another way to do it is like you should just target your hardcore audience. Like you have a lot of cartoon fans. Like I'm a big Batman Beyond fan. Not Ben Weir.
there's some good cartoons.
They had
too.
some good, like
Oh, they had some
the
great
original
ones.
Batman animated show, the Justice League animated show.
Superman animated show
like,
was great.
just target your like your old
Teen
fan
Titans Go?
base and just start like kind of just blasting them with like content they want. Like that. Like if I were like, I'd give like a free like not a free comic book, but like yeah, kind of like a sample comic book, like with a purchase of like if I were at GameStop, I purchased a DC game, like a DC
Yeah, their
like
games are
universe
doing
game
good, too, also.
Yeah, like they're like the DC like
Injustice
universe.
2?
Yeah, Injustice 2
like
came
if
out.
I had bought an Injustice and they gave me a sample comic of like what was based off
Yeah.
of, I would be like I'm a loyal fan at that point because it's like they kind of like are showing me customer service and it's like
I don't think the desire is there for those comics.
I played
but I
Injustice
still
2.
would read it, and I still like. I know that you don't think there's desire, but again, if you had like comic books in PDF form that if I were already subscribed to, and I could just kind of look at it, then I feel like I'd read them just because it's there and it's.
But why
like-
are you buying the service?
Yeah, but I wouldn't buy the
Amazon-
service
look,
in the first
Amazon
place.
Instant Video,
But-
no
yeah.
one cares. You have it because you bought Amazon Prime
Exactly.
for the shipping.
Exactly.
Right? So, like, and Amazon Music, like, cannot compete with Spotify or with Apple Music.
I think they
Why do
know,
you have
though.
it? Because it's free.
Yeah.
Because you already wanted a different service. So with this, what is the draw to me? Is it the television shows, the films, or the comics, or is it all three? Is the comics basically Amazon Music, which I do not need? That's what the comics are, is like, if you want it, here it is. The films, again, I mean, okay, $75 a year is less than like Netflix or Hulu or whatever.
Probably will be less than what Disney
and I'm sure it'll
does.
be less than what Disney does, because Disney's going to be like,
We have everything.
we have everything. Watch it. Yeah. So I just don't know why do I want this DC streaming
Yeah.
service unless it's just to watch the Titans show and Doom Patrol.
Yeah, I feel like they just don't have enough content. It's
Exactly.
premature. And I think
Yeah.
they should have partnered with Netflix to make like a subcategory or something like that to where
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
was a
that would
DC
be nice.
focus.
Because then
Because
Netflix could
They've already
do
got a
things
deal where their
Netflix-
television shows are on there.
Yeah,
So why
think about-
pull that and then
I would have just partnered with Netflix, and even like they could have branched out into almost ebook stuff with the comic books too. Like they could have done almost anything that is better than what they're doing right now.
Yeah.
So
almost anything?
There's a
rest
lot
in
that
peace.
they're
We hate you,
wrong.
executives at DC. We're so much smarter than you.
3 kids in college. We're smarter. That's all you gotta know.
No.
Engineering.
oh no, we're not. But like at the
Moment
same
equals
time,
systems.
we have
I
our
just think-
opinions.
I feel like DC is just unaware of the problems that they're having. They're just like, everything is going so well, you know what I mean? Like, we made movies and
they're
people
making
kind
money
of
on
like
them, so people are seeing them. They're like financially
It's 'cause-
speaking, they're doing well.
It's
They're
kind
doing
of
okay.
It's kind of
Justice
like
League, how did Justice League do, like, domestic box
Yeah.
office?
it's
though?
kind of like cheering for the Arkansas Razorbacks. Everybody doesn't like the season, and then next season they come back and they cheer for them. But you know they're still gonna be bad.
Yeah.
It's like, or the Cleveland Browns. You're like, oh, but this year could be great, and they have 1 win. So it's just kind of like that feeling.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna go back and see the movie, hoping for the best, and then you just get disappointed again. But
Oh,
Right.
yeah. All right, we're actually gonna move into the last category.
Versus.
Do, bell ring, ding ding.
Versus.
the main event.
Welcome to the main event. So we're actually gonna be we're gonna be starting doing like one-on-one versus series. Today,
Preemptive handshakes.
gentleman's game.
He's like the ref, the commissioner.
Yeah, are you commissioner? Oh, is this? Yeah, okay.
Commissioner Gordon. Okay.
Oh.
Rest in peace.
Batman Year One was good, if y'all saw that. animated
They
movie.
have the animated movies that are pretty good too.
And-
no,
okay,
we can't get on that.
Okay,
We can't get on that.
we are back to
like
the
this.
versus series. Okay, so this topic is going to be reboots. Now it's going to be like ideal reboots. What would be the best reboot? Like, is it already done? What they could have done to do better? But it's going to basically like, what is the ideal reboot? Even if it hasn't come out, if it's not in production, it's whatever it is. They make points. That's just kind of how it goes, and they'll trash on each other. So first up is Ben Weir.
Okay, so I'm already like this, like I'm moving outside of the boxes of the reboot thing, but this is just more of a when I say reboot, I'm not saying like they start over. I'm saying what are they going to do? What should they do? Okay, so we know. I mean, so we know that Chris Evans just kind of like announced like I am done shooting. Like I am out of my contract. Right? That was I think it was 2 days ago. Right? So pretty soon, I figure Robert Downey Jr. is going to make a similar statement. He's out, and he could definitely come back. Well, we don't know. We have not seen Avengers: Infinity War Part 2 or
gone.
title, whatever.
Infinity Part 2.
Part 2.
The end game.
He may or may not die. I don't know. But so, in the case that he dies, or even if he doesn't, are we gonna have an Iron Man 4? What are they going to do with that? So my thought would be like,
Oh my goodness, is this what?
this is my reboot idea. Is
Wow.
like Iron Man 4. What are we gonna do with that? Like, what is Marvel looking to do? Like, if Tony Stark dies, which I mean, I don't know. He's definitely gonna have a very much reduced role in the MCU. So what's gonna take place from that? Are we gonna see like some fan theories would be that like Shuri from Black Panther becomes like the new Iron Man? Yeah,
because
I don't know. I don't know.
Iron Man comics
Choose
has,
yes or no. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I thought
but
she became Black Panther.
no,
No.
Iron
She
Man
became
comics
Iron Man?
has Iron Man
They just
comics
have the
has,
idea that she
has
could be.
a
Oh well, that would make sense because she's all technology. But
right,
yeah,
yeah.
I don't know if I would.
I don't know that
necessarily
I love that, but like, so I mean, that's an idea. Who else is going to be Iron Man? I doubt they're going to use Rhodey. I mean, he's probably is he even in contract? I don't know what his status is. So I mean, that would be my like, what's going to happen? Like, we assume that Bucky Barnes might wind up as Captain America, or even Falcon might wind up as Captain America in the future after this upcoming movie.
Yeah.
But we don't really have a lot of theories about what's going to happen to the Iron Man title. Like, who's that going to be?
Okay.
So it's less of a reboot, and it's
So
more my
what
idea.
should it be? What
What do you
what
want the
should
reboot
the
to
Iron
be?
Man reboot be?
Yeah,
like the
in your
sequel
opinion.
to it.
What should it be? I'm not positive. I really think, like, this is just more of like, I think this is an interesting thing.
Well,
of,
sell
like,
me on the
what's
sell me
gonna
on the
happen.
concept.
So the concept is that you have this role that Iron Man has always played, right? Which is not quite the leader of the team, right? But certainly like certainly
He's like
finds the
halfway leader
direction,
in a
and
way.
like also the problem causer very often. You know, so who's gonna fill this role? If we're gonna talk about Shuri becoming Iron Man, which seems to be the only successor I've seen, right? And because Tony
There's-
Stark has no children at this point.
Well, there could be.
Well,
Infinity
we
War Part
think,
2.
yeah,
but
like
that's a long way
even
down,
so,
too.
it's not gonna be like instantly. Like, what's the minimum age to be in this movie? Like 13, maybe. Like who's gonna be able to fill this role? I don't know who can fill this role. You know, Shuri seems to be the only one that makes any kind of sense, and at the same time, like she kind of already has her own like fit into this universe.
I don't think that they would necessarily do that.
And they're not
I think
gonna
that-
recast.
I think that we think bolder for Marvel than Marvel actually does. Kind of like with Star Wars, how
Yeah.
everybody was like, Episode 8 is going to be like this, and then it wasn't that.
Yeah.
They went with what
Was
like something
safe.
kind of like
They went
simpler
with
and
something
safe.
safe.
Same with Marvel. I feel like it's like we could do this bold thing, but if they play it safer, like even with Infinity War, it's a bold thing that they did,
But we know they're coming back.
but
Yeah,
it's just kind of like that. to
someone's
me.
dying, but it's not anyone that's already died.
So
Yeah.
seeing Shuri take over, I think that would be something that I don't know if they would do
Yeah.
necessarily.
And Tom Holland's role, he is Spider-Man, and he would be the only one that's even got like the relationship of like you
Like a
know
son.
like a son to Tony Stark, and there's really not like a younger brother even. Like I don't know who it could be, but what are they gonna do with this role? Because I really doubt that in 10 years we'll look back and say, man, they really should have done something with Iron Man like after Infinity War Part 2. You know,
Yeah.
like something's gonna happen to this character or this like role at least, and not having a successor that we can point to. Like we can point to Falcon and say he could certainly be the next Captain America, or to Winter Soldier, and we could say, comics wise, he could certainly be this person, right? But when it comes to Iron Man, like I just don't have anyone who I can say other than Tom Holland. But he's already like such an elevated character. I mean,
Yeah.
isn't he like the actual most popular Marvel character? like not Tom Holland, but
Spider-Man?
Spider-Man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
At the point that we've had 6 Spider-Man movies, then like
7. 6. You're right.
6,
Sorry,
yeah.
my bad.
then we're pretty
Into the
certain.
Spider-Verse.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't know. Is that how yet? That's
No,
not.
it's
No, it's not.
I don't even have. I don't want to talk about expectations for that. But so I mean that's just my like.
I mean, my question
Point,
is
really.
more.
Like, how are you gonna get like?
I don't know what I want.
I
this
need to be sold
I have
on this
no-
reboot. If it's gonna be ideal, I need to be sold. Like,
I mean, my question is more: who's gonna replace Hawkeye once he retires? That's
I don't know. I mean, like, oh,
No, but I would love to see Tony Stark. He solves whatever problem they face in the new Avengers movie,
and walks off.
and then him and Pepper have a baby. You know that she's pregnant. It's like months later. You know that she's pregnant, and something along those lines, like he's gonna go retire and be with Hawkeye wherever they're at.
Be with
See,
Hawkeye.
I would-
Honestly, because I don't want it to be like him dying kind of thing, but instead he is literally the whole point of it to me. It's kind of like what's happened in Spider-Man where he became a father kind of thing.
Right.
To him. And so it's like showing his character has finally changed where he can become that
His
father.
character
finally.
has like the most defined arc of anyone, I
Yes,
would say,
for sure.
And yet there's still no what's
There
the
needs to be a
resolution?
resolution.
How is
Yeah.
he? My thing with Captain America is I think he almost like has to. I think he kind of has to die because how is
I mean, he's already
Well-
walked away from government before,
Yeah.
so he can walk away from
but at the
good.
same time he's still on the scene. You know, like he walked away from government, but like, can Captain America sit around and like not suit
No.
up with the
It's
Avengers?
not in his character.
And I don't think Iron
That's
Man.
true.
I don't think Iron Man
And
can do that
what-
either.
I got you.
well,
yeah.
Iron Man. I think what could happen to give a conclusion for that is Infinity War, time gap. They already have a kid, and
I
so
thought about that too.
Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man doesn't want to reverse time.
Yeah.
So it's trying to find a solution. How do we like incorporate this new world that we're living in, plus the old world we're trying to bring
Yeah.
back? But that'd be an interesting concept for Iron Man. You need to give me your reboot ideal reboot.
So we have talked a lot about superheroes and stuff like that. I was thinking what would be a good superhero movie to do, but I couldn't really think of one at the time, and so I thought more action, and I couldn't really think of an action movie necessarily. But
Everything
I
is
could-
perfect.
I could think of an adventure movie that came to my mind that I really loved when I was younger, and I think it would be kind of cool to see it remade, especially with like not fantasy necessarily, but like kind of how we talked about last time, like realism and like making it kind of like that would be like The Goonies, which would be like a period piece, kind of like Stranger Things was on Netflix this like past 2 seasons. So I think that I know it's kind of random and I'm just throwing that in there, but I think that The Goonies would be a really good movie to remake that I think would make a lot of money, honestly, because of the fact that Stranger Things has like these different characters that are younger and going on an adventure, and it makes you feel nostalgic. In that same way, I think Goonies could make a ton of money off of that. And like, there's not much else to say. I think there is stuff in the original that could probably be done possibly better, which is why I would like to see it be remade and rebooted. There wouldn't be necessarily like a series that is made after it or anything like that, but it's just something that I thought of that I think it'd be nice to see, like something that old that I liked and made again with newer characters but still true to the story, and it's like a great adventure. So
Okay, this is a hard decision, but I think what I'm gonna actually have
Are we
you.
gonna trash?
I want you to trash each other because I need someone to throw me over the wire. So Ben,
Okay.
you trash on his.
Well, to trash on it, I have to say like, I don't even know what I want out of Iron Man 4.
For real.
What do I want? I don't know. I have no idea how they're gonna do it. I mean, when it comes to Goonies, that's actually like not a movie I've seen. Like, never seen that.
Have you
So,
have you seen
no, I haven't.
yeah.
Really?
See, so
Yeah,
here's
so
why.
it's-
maybe I need to switch movies.
Yeah.
Gosh.
No. That's kind of why I like your idea a lot more.
Wanting to see it.
Because to me, there's some movies that when it comes to like remaking them, like why are you remaking this? You know, like in the case of like the Amazing Spider-Man movies, was it more just to keep the rights? Is that kind of why they created those? Because like they
I
already
guess.
had like a fairly successful Spider-Man run, so it's not like a let's do something like out of like let's do something brand new and like no one's ever seen this. Like it's still Spider-Man, and even if it was a different take, it was still kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to the Goonies, like in terms of a reboot, I think what happens is after a movie comes out, if it's not something that's just like, I mean, Goonies is like,
It's cool.
does hold well. Yeah, but like it's not like Star Wars, where Star Wars is like probably always going to be like pretty popular as long as we're in the era that we're in.
Yeah.
And so like Star Wars is something that nothing new has to come out for me to see those. You know, like if episode 1 through 3 had never come out, my dad still would have shown me 4, 5, and 6. You know, and just because they're new ones, that's cool. But like, I never saw it. Goonies, like, we may be getting to the point where, like, what are 12-year-olds watching? Are 12-year-olds watching, like, the old Goonies movie? Probably not, honestly. So but, like, this is my argument for Goonies. I'm, like, trying to argue for you because...
Thanks, I'll argue for you.
Like, young kids have not seen this. I have not seen this, right? And, I mean, I know people have that are, like, our age, but, like, I haven't. So if a new one came out, I'm more likely to go watch that in theaters, assuming it's good, right? But, like, I'm more likely to go watch that in theaters than I am to, like, go through the effort of trying to watch the old one. I'm basically signing this one away to you.
Signing it away. Okay.
I like his better as a reboot. I just thought mine was interesting enough to warrant, like, hey, like, what's the reboot status of this? What's going to happen? Are they just going to, like, create, like, the new Iron Man? Or... Yeah. Because they could do that, and they could have, like, I just don't know who it would be.
Yeah.
They're not going to.
Yeah, they've already made a timeline, and they're sticking to the timeline. They're not rebooting anything.
So who's going to fill this mantle?
I don't think it's necessarily a reboot, though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
That
well, it's just like you're rebooting the mantle, kind of.
Yeah.
The
mantle, the
Mandarin?
idea.
The Mandarin?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
What I really want is a reboot of Iron Man 3, titled Iron Man 3, and they just cast the other one out. Extremis, what happened to Extremis?
They completely got rid of Pepper Potts having superpowers. I mean, I think there's a side mention. There was like a mention of getting rid of it.
He said, I figured this out while I was drunk. Why, like, I can, like, reverse it.
Yeah.
Oh,
no.
But I guess since you argued for me, I guess I could argue for you.
I mean, no, you can go against me.
No.
I can take it. He can't take it.
I can totally take it.
I don't necessarily understand, like I was saying, a reboot series right now would not happen. Like, they're not going to reboot, say, like, Iron Man, and then they're going to redo it because the origin story is already there and it's super good. I don't see them taking Shuri because she's, that's how you say it, Shuri, right? Mm-hmm. Not Suri, as in, like, Tom Cruise's daughter, right?
No. And also not the character from Jesse.
Next week we'll be talking about Jesse, and we'll be talking about Bunked, getting rid of the main guy and having
Xander. Oh my gosh, rest in peace.
But basically, I don't see them doing that. I think if anything, the hint in Avengers: Infinity War, where she says, like, he basically wants to have a kid before he goes off to attack Thanos or fight Thanos.
Yeah.
He's like, they're talking about having a family. So I think that's kind of the way that they would go about it more so, is like, she's pregnant, and then 10 years down the road, whenever kids aren't really hearing about Iron Man as much anymore, they've done, like, all the Inhumans series or whatever they're going to do with all, like, the new characters.
10 years in our world.
10 years in our actual world. They're, like, he's, like, finally the age of maybe, like, Spider-Man, and he comes across the fact that well, I guess he would know that his dad is Tony Stark and Iron Man. But something comes up where he's, like, in that same realm.
Yeah.
I think that's where they would reboot the series more so.
Yeah.
There has to be a bigger...
There has to be a reason to reboot it.
Exactly.
I just don't know what they're going to do with it.
And so I don't think that... I think Iron Man, honestly, is just going to be done. Like, the movie's Iron Man is going to be done. The movie's Captain America, done. All that kind of stuff. Thor, I think that's a different scenario. I think Thor will continue to live on in other movies.
I'd like to see him
on
Guardians.
Maybe he'll be in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Kind of like Iron Man was in Amazing Spider-Man and in the Avengers. He hasn't had a movie in a couple
Thor
years.
can be the remaining of the four. I see Hulk lives.
I see Iron Man being done, Captain America being done, Black Widow can kind of pretty much be done, Hulk can kind of be done. I could see him continuing to go on.
Yeah.
But a lot of their new stuff is going to be what drives them for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
And
Captain Marvel, and who knows how good that's going to be.
Exactly. And so they
Yeah.
can make Captain Marvel, have that movie. They can make another Captain Marvel where she's in normal daytime, kind of like the Captain America movies.
Yeah.
They can make another Spider-Man, like 2 more Spider-Mans, all these different things. So I don't think that that's the reboot idea that they're going for right now until like 10, 15 years.
I'm thinking more like 20 years. But anyways, I think I've heard both. Honestly, Brandon made a better argument than you did for your own, topic.
As I was saying it, I just thought it was interesting.
No, it's definitely interesting. It's just like...
But you're going for the win, Ben.
Yeah, you gotta go for the dub, man.
I told you last time that I don't ever want to win. I'm just trying to be like the most liked person on the podcast, not the most successful.
No. But like, I think like Iron Man. Honestly, I'm tired of superhero movies. I really want them to be done like after Infinity War. I don't know if everyone thinks that way, but for me, I'm like tired of it.
I just
So
want it
it's
to be
like
different.
exactly. I want them to be. I want them to be different.
It's kind of
And-
like this the phase we went through with the Hunger Games and Divergent and the Fifth Wave. If you saw that movie,
the dystopian
Yeah.
stuff.
where it's like just all
Maze
dystopia,
Runner.
and you're just like, I've already seen this before, and oh wow, someone was controlling it the whole time. Oh wow, we have to defeat this person, and that's the second movie.
Some things
Yeah.
are
So it's
cool
just kinda
ideas
like-
and they're interesting to think about, but like the dystopia thing, middle school, honestly, that's when that was fun for me because I'm like really getting into this world of like these rules that the authors are setting up, right? So
Yeah.
the rules of Divergent is interesting when it comes to the books. When you watch the movies, the rules do not matter as much. It's not as interesting, and like as you keep going, like
Yeah.
I did not like Mockingjay, like the book at all. Like I just didn't like it. I felt like it was just like the total like here's the adventure side of it and like the rules of it, like even the politics side was boring.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's more like
So-
they could have just made it like one movie kind of thing,
Yeah.
and moved on. Like they just wanted to milk it for its money, obviously, but
Yeah.
it just made the series and like that kind of dystopian feel kind of go sour in people's mouth.
Yeah.
So
Divergent.
I think
2 and
that's
3
kind of the
being
same
trash.
thing you're saying about superhero movies. It's just kind of like we've seen this before.
We may be
Yeah.
at the end of the cycle, and
I
that's
think
okay.
that's,
Like,
that, and
I
that's
just-
why we were talking about last podcast. The fantasy thing might be the next
Exactly.
big thing.
And
Yeah.
so I do agree. I think that there will be new stuff that is going to be coming.
So
out rather
I
than
think
superhero.
I have to get and like I think
we
his-
vote, right?
Yeah.
We vote.
Well, I'm the neutral here. I'm
No,
the
we
one-
all vote.
no,
We all vote.
I'm the neutral man here. You do not vote. I am
Okay.
the Senate.
Hey, I'm gonna vote no matter what.
I would have voted for you, and you would have voted for me because we can't vote for ourselves.
I know. So David is the deciding vote. I just want to vote.
And so my deciding vote is going to Brandon.
Let's go.
That's dub number 2, bro. But
Number 2.
yeah, like it's just a period piece. Just sounds more interesting than another superhero movie.
How many
As-
period pieces have we had?
Honestly, I feel like
Not as
We've
many
had
in
a
recent.
lot.
Well,
as many as superheroes.
now if we're talking like
Period
Guardians,
superhero
The
movies.
first Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
I don't think
The
you
cult
consider that
period
period.
piece.
I
It
don't
wasn't a
think you
period
consider it
piece, but it's like you're inserting the music and like the references of the
Yeah,
time.
but
True,
I
that's
still
why I
don't
think
think-
Goonies would be so good in a way.
Yeah.
It's because there
it
aren't
has
so
it has
many of
it has
them.
been shown to be successful. I didn't think Guardians of the Galaxy 2 captured that feeling at all.
Exactly.
Yeah, because like I
It's
would
just another soundtrack that was cool.
just imagine like older like what period piece. I would love to see like an authentic like really artistic movie of something like
Yeah.
like King Creole, but like it's made in modern day. It's like not. It's like it's literally that period. It's like a period piece.
Yeah.
Just bring it to today's. Just remaking something, but making it unique.
I was
Because that'd be
also-
way more interesting. I
I
feel
was
like.
also gonna say like what you said last time about historical things kind of. Well, I mean, you said like royalty, but I think historical
Yeah.
things will become more and more. And if you look at the trend of games, even the things that have been selling, I feel like a lot are like the sci-fi ones, kind of. And then there's like the ones that are taking historical moments and then they're building a story around kind of the
Assassin's
historical
Creed.
moment.
Yeah.
So like those kind of games, or like even Call of Duty did like
Yeah.
really well, and then I feel like as they got into the more advanced warfare, for me, I didn't really like it as much
Yeah.
because it felt like too much. But whenever you take it back to the basics of just like war, it makes it more interesting to me. So I could see movies kind of taking the same trend. Let's take a historical moment and then let's build upon that and build around that and make a story. I think that will go up even more.
Yeah.
So, or
Well,
like original ideas like Pirates of the Caribbean, where you get like these great stories in period pieces that aren't necessarily like Jane Eyre or Pride and Prejudice, but like really cool stuff like Pride and
Pride and Prejudice
Pride
and
and Prejudice
Zombies.
and Zombies. Yes, like that kind
Wait,
of
oh,
stuff.
you were serious about that?
I'm just kidding.
Like,
But yeah.
All right, but we gotta end it there. That was great talk. Brandon got the dub, so we'll see you guys next time. All right, see ya.